Family pressures me to reconnect with my dad. After years of abandonment, but I stand my ground and refuse to let him back into my life. All right, this one's a doozy. So I'm chilling at home, minding my own business, when my phone buzzes with a message from my aunt. Now, she's usually cool and all, but this message, it's like a bomb went off in my hands. She says, "Hey, your dad wants to reconnect. What do you think?" Let me give you some background here. My dad? The guy who decided one day that fatherhood wasn't his thing and vanished into thin air when I was just 10 years old. No calls, no letters, no birthday cards, nada. That's why I was just poof, gone. And now, after almost 2 decades, he suddenly wants back in? Hell no. I called my aunt immediately, my blood boiling. "Are you serious right now? He abandoned us. Why the hell would I want to see him?" She tried to calm me down, saying things like, "People change, and he's really sorry," but I wasn't having any of it. Sorry doesn't cut it, Aunt Linda. He made his choice a long time ago, and it wasn't us. The worst part? The rest of my family started to get involved. My phone was blowing up with messages from my mom, my cousins, even my grandma. They all seemed to be on his side, saying I should give him a chance, that I should at least hear him out. It felt like I was being ganged up on by my own family. But here's the kicker. They didn't live through the nights when I cried myself to sleep because my dad wasn't there. They didn't see my mom work 3 jobs just to make ends meet. They weren't there for the parent-teacher conferences, the birthdays, the graduations. I was. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? But no, my family decided to turn up the heat. They started showing up at my place, trying to reason with me in person. My mom was the worst of all. She'd sit there, tears in her eyes, saying things like, "I just want our family to be whole again, and he's really trying, sweetheart. I get it. She's got a big heart, always has, but that doesn't mean I'm willing to open mine to someone who stomped all over it." My cousins even tried to bribe me with promises of family gatherings and dinners. They said things like, "It'll be good for you, and you don't want to live with regrets." Regrets? The only regret I'd have is letting that asshole back into my life. It started affecting my work. I couldn't focus. I was snapping at colleagues, and my boss even pulled me aside to ask if everything was all right. I lied and said I was just stressed, but inside I was screaming. My friends were my only refuge. They knew the whole story and backed me up 100%. My best friend Jake was ready to throw down with anyone who tried to pressure me. "Screw them, man. They weren't there. They don't get a say." I was starting to feel like the whole world was against me. Everywhere I turned, someone was whispering about how I should just give my dad a chance. It was suffocating, but I wasn't going to cave. Not now, not ever. So I told them all the same thing. No way. He's not coming back into my life. It started affecting my work. I couldn't focus. I was snapping at colleagues, and my boss even pulled me aside to ask if everything was all right. I lied and said I was just stressed, but inside I was screaming. My friends were my only refuge. They knew the whole story and backed me up 100%. My best friend Jake was ready to throw down with anyone who tried to pressure me. "Screw them, man. They weren't there. They don't get a say." I was starting to feel like the whole world was against me. Everywhere I turned, someone was whispering about how I should just give my dad a chance. It was suffocating. But I wasn't going to cave. Not now, not ever. Things hit a breaking point at a family BBQ. It was supposed to be a fun day, grilling, drinking, the usual. But of course, the topic of my dad came up again. My mom, trying to be sneaky, had invited him. And guess who walked in like he owned the place? Yep, him. I saw red. I stormed up to him, ready to tear into him, but he beat me to it. "I know I messed up, son, but I'm here to make things right." I laughed in his face. "Make things right? You think you can just waltz back in after 20 years and everything will be peachy? You're delusional." The entire family was watching us like it was some kind of reality TV show. My mom tried to step in, but I wasn't done. "You abandoned us. You left us to fend for ourselves. You don't get to come back now because it's convenient for you." He looked genuinely hurt, but I didn't care. "I'm sorry," he said again, but it was too little, too late. I walked out of there shaking with rage. I could hear my family calling after me, but I didn't look back. I got in my car and drove, needing to clear my head. How could they do this to me? How could they betray me like that? The next few days were a blur. I ignored calls and texts, not wanting to deal with anyone. I buried myself in work, trying to forget the whole mess, but it was like a dark cloud hanging over me. One night, there was a knock on my door. It was my mom, looking more exhausted than I'd ever seen her. "Can we talk?" she asked, and despite everything, I let her in. She sat on my couch, fidgeting with her hands. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize how much this would hurt you." I sighed, feeling some of my anger melt away. "It's not just about me, Mom. It's about us. He abandoned us, and now you all want to welcome him back like nothing happened. It's not fair." She nodded, tears welling up. "I know, but I also know people can change, and I think he has. But if you're not ready, that's okay." We shouldn't have pressured you. It was the first time I felt like someone actually understood. We talked for hours, hashing out everything. By the end, I felt lighter, but I was still resolute. "I'm not ready to forgive him. Maybe I never will be." She hugged me, and for the first time in weeks, I felt at peace. "That's okay. Take your time." The family eventually backed off, realizing they'd pushed too hard. My dad tried reaching out a few more times, but I ignored his messages. I wasn't ready to face him, and maybe I never would be. My friends continued to be my rock, supporting me through the whole ordeal. Jake even got me tickets to a concert to help take my mind off things. Slowly, life started to feel normal again. I learned a lot from this whole mess. I learned that it's okay to stand your ground, even when everyone else is pushing you in a different direction. I learned that family doesn't always mean you have to forgive and forget. Sometimes, protecting your own peace is more important. My dad is still out there, trying to make amends, but I'm not rushing anything. Maybe one day I'll be ready to talk to him, to hear his side of the story. But for now, I'm focusing on myself, on healing the wounds he left behind. And you know what? That's okay. Like and subscribe for future content.